You ever heard the phrase armchair quarterback? Yeah, they're usually those people who've never played the game, never been involved, never been smacked with a helmet or chased down the field or tackled at all, but come Monday morning, they know exactly what the team should have done to win the game. They have all the answers in the world for what failed and what went wrong and what they would have done in those circumstances had they ever been put in those circumstances, but they never really got off the couch or put down the Fritos. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. I want to challenge you with this question. What campaign, and I don't mean a political campaign per se, but what campaign or what movement, what cause is bigger than you, is larger than life, and it demands your voice? Will you look back 2, 3, 5, 25 years from now and realize I had a chance to be involved, but I didn't show up to practice, and so I got kicked off the team, or I didn't put in my effort at 100%, and so I never made it to the starting lineup. I never got into the high school varsity team, much less the college team, much less the pros. And I don't care if it's soccer or volleyball or football, it doesn't matter. The analogy holds true when you think about things like feminism, or victims of sexual assault, or victims of violent crimes, or victims of spousal abuse, or victims of the system who get shuffled off to prison for no reason. See, there's a whole world of people out there who, had you simply played at a higher level, had you simply applied yourself a little bit more intensely, had you been dedicated to something bigger than yourself, something larger than who you are, you could have changed the course of their life. Maybe saved their life, maybe saved their future or their education or their family. But your silence, your unwillingness to speak up for the fact that it might risk your current status in life or your livelihood, or it might require that you get off the couch and put down the Fritos and step away from the remote, that you leave aside your own personal drama for a moment and engage with someone else's challenges. See, I'm a firm believer that if you're not involved in some cause bigger than yourself, that when you leave, your social footprint goes with you. The impact that you've made on the world when you exit stage left will be, exiting with you. That if your life only represents the days that you're here, the number of hours that you contribute to a 40-hour-week job, whether it's 36 or 50, the income that you actually gain from your employer and give back to the world in the form of rent or mortgage or car payments or insurances, that cycle of income is not really a contribution beyond yourself. It's called sustenance. It's called living or getting by. And if you're in the cycle of life where all you're doing is living and getting by and you're not contributing to something bigger than yourself, if you haven't found people to work with and around you that demand something of you, a little extra effort, a few more hours, maybe a couple of dollars, maybe nothing more than your voice and your influence, the circle of people that you talk with, that you invest in. If that's no bigger than you, then I have to wonder, what are you going to do while you're here? What will you contribute before it's over? Whose life will you impact? Just your own? Maybe just you and your children? Maybe you and your children and perhaps your grandchildren? But what if like a Martin Luther King Jr. and his family and now his granddaughter carrying on the same legacy that he carried, making social impact like he made social impact? Maybe like Anne Graham Lotz, who's following in the footprints of her father, Billy Graham. The list goes on of people who've been involved in, whether it's politics or social change or business development. What footprint will you leave, though? Who have you influenced outside of your immediate circle, outside of your immediate household, outside of your immediate family, outside of yourself? As you look at 2019, I want you to consider, what could you do now that would allow you to participate in a cause or a campaign or a movement that's so much bigger than you that maybe even when it's all said and done, no one would know your name. They'd have no idea who you are. But the movement would succeed because of your efforts or your voice or your influence. Take some time over the next few weeks and ask yourself honestly, as I go into the next year, where could I invest all that I have and all that I am into a cause or a movement or a campaign that will leave a mark in society larger than my own personal social footprint? Because that, my friend, is leadership. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
2018, that I was praying, God, you know, he just needs this thing broken in his life. He's become involved in that class. And there's real spiritual change and real physical change happening in this guy's life.
Today on Transforming Grace TV.
Succumb to addiction, and I would succumb to pornography. And the residual effect of that in my wife and my children and my household and my other relationships, mind-boggling. And yet I knew there was a call in my life. And I think that tension is what pulls men apart in the churches, and it pulls families apart. That to me is heartbreaking. My opinion too is that the body of Christ has a tendency to crucify our wounded.
Transforming Grace TV passionately reveals hope in broken relationships. Stay tuned. Experience God's transforming grace.